Hi, I'm Chris Brogan. I wanted to show you a little bit about the video setup I use for doing video conferencing. And to do that, I grabbed a handheld camera so that I could show you what's what. Let me give you a sense of that, and I'll narrate what's going on. So the background in this is pretty much painted that way on purpose. That's the walls of my place, and I painted that wall blue because I knew that was going to end up being my studio background. So a lot of times that's where I sit in my shot. This light right here is an LED 500 by a company called Fancier, and it's not super expensive, but it's a lot more than most people tend to buy for what they're doing. I mean, I knew because I was going to do a lot of video that I would want something like that, and I have two of them, and if I set them up better, I usually set one up on one side, one on the other. You can close and open these parts to make a little bit more light or less light come in. You also have 4 different switches, so you can add tons more brightness. I've never ever had to turn on more than one switch in the kind of setting that I do. So I'm going to walk around behind here. Please excuse the mess. And when you see the front side of things, I have an iMac right here. I just use the video camera on top of the iMac quite often for my stuff. And this microphone that's so poorly lit is a Blue Yeti microphone, and it's a USB plug-in type mic. It works really great. It costs about $100. But again, when I use that with that little pop filter over it and everything like that, that filter keeps me from making little P sounds too loudly. It gives me a much more professional sound. I mean, that's what I'm recording this into right now, and you could tell the difference, right, between these two different parts. A couple other elements I didn't point out is the boom microphone. This is going to make a noise, okay? But this is on a stand, and the reason it's on a stand is because I want to mitigate those kinds of noises for the most part. So when it's sitting still, it keeps my keyboard free, so you don't have to hear my sounds of me clicky clacking. It gives me, puts the mic up a little closer to my mouth, but still sort of under frame, so when you're doing your conversation. You know, another thing that, if I were going to do a little bit more to show in this video, one thing I would show you would be you could do sort of 3 light settings. So there's one light already over here in my graphic, and here I would put one more light. And the other thing I would use is I have this little inexpensive light that I use that came from IKEA, and it's just like a couple of bucks. It's just a little tiny LED light, and you put it sort of straight up and you put it behind you, and they call it like a hair light. And I don't think I can show you in this particular video. I don't think. But what it does is it sort of separates the darkness behind you a little bit. And that's sort of my solution for making a cheap hair light. So why do I go to all this effort? One of the reasons I do is because if this is going to be my business, a part of my business, if I'm going to do video conferencing, I want to make it look good. A lot of times you'll go on a video call with somebody and they'll look a bit like they're in a witness relocation program, which means the lighting is behind them, or the audio sounds terrible and sounds like they're in another building. I think that the more things you can do to make audio and video sound just a hair better makes the video experience go better, even if it's just internal meetings. You just don't want people to be distracted by the method so that they're not actually hearing your message. One other point I think I forgot to make was that I use earbuds so that I can actually hear you on the video conference call without you hearing you, so that the speaker doesn't do that horrible feedback thing. None of this stuff, I mean, you could start so simply. You could start with just making sure your light is on you. You can start with just making sure maybe you just buy a small microphone. I mean, you don't even have to start with that big Blue Yeti. You could buy this little blue called a Tiki, which is a USB style one, and it can fit into your laptop, or it can fit into your laptop via this cable, which then allows you to bring it even closer to your face if you want. And that way your conferencing can sound good. This one only costs like $50. You could go a very cheap route and you could buy video game headsets or Skype type headsets. I know, don't say Skype. But you can buy these headsets that are, made for computer use that are not that much money either. I like this setup better. I think it's a little bit more natural. So that's it. That's my video setup. I'm Chris Brogan. I hope this was useful to you. I hope you found some stuff that was good and, at least some thoughts on where you might go next with your own stuff.